a lot of talk about an infrastructure bill, a lot of talk about how this country is in need of an infrastructure overhaul, some stuff that just needs to be updated. And I'm curious to see both at a national level, but also at a state level, what you're hearing on an infrastructure bill and when we think we might see such an infrastructure bill. Because I know a lot of labor guys are ready to get to work, and a lot of manufacturers would love to see some new highways, bridges, pipelines being built. Congressman, I'll throw it to you first.
Well, there's talk of so-called phase 4. We'll certainly be working on that. That does likely will come about. I hope it does in the month of July. Liability insurance is very important. We do need to help. President had that Project Warp Speed for finding a vaccine, very important. The PPP, New Flexibility Act, was passed. That needed to be done. There were far too many, particularly in Pennsylvania, and restaurants and the tourist industry. That 8-week period didn't work for them, so we extended out that to 24 weeks. We got to open up the schools. That's part of the list. And I've also got a coal reclamation bill that I think would be very important as far as phase 4 goes for Pennsylvania and other states. But T&I is at the top of the list. Transportation infrastructure. I just Monday introduced a bill which is establishing something called the Infrastructure Bank of America. That's a private sector capitalized, fully privately owned and managed approach that, not to get into the details, but could add as much as $300, $400, $500 billion a year in private skin in the game as far as for development of infrastructure and basically public-private partnerships, primarily revenue generating such projects. But I am all for whether that ends up being part of a transportation infrastructure bill or a standalone. It's absolutely essential. We all know our roads. We've got our share. In Pennsylvania, we have more state roads than all of New York and New England combined. We've depleted our motor license fund because people weren't driving for a couple of months, and that comes from gasoline taxes. So it's essential. I'm a big proponent of it. So now we've been a big proponent of it for a while now. So let's hope that, so is the president. I mean, the president wants this to happen. Let's hope it can in the next 4 months, 5 months prior to the election. I feel as if I feel assured that it will occur next year if it doesn't occur now, because it's essential for our modernization, and there's really a number of smart ways of going about it that are being introduced. There's a bill coming to the out of committee soon that is another bill going nowhere, unfortunately, that the Democrat leadership is bringing. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean to sound so political, but you know, I'm about results. I got many friends on both sides of the aisle, but when something is possible, I get a lot more excited about it than just a messaging bill, which this one will be another of such. So yeah, we've got to get it done. It's talked about in every caucus meeting we have, every conference call that we have, from leadership through the rank and file. We want to get something done.
Yeah, I would just add, Bill, you know, before the pandemic, the need to make bold investments in our nation's infrastructure, not just roads and bridges, but our energy infrastructure, has been one of those unique opportunities where we've been able to see the business community and the labor community really come together to approach this in a very nonpartisan way. And strengthening our nation's infrastructure should be something that should be done in a bipartisan way. You know, pre-pandemic, we saw the need, but, you know, looking at where many of the state and local budget shortfalls are, it'll be critically important for the congressman and others to be able to get that surface transportation reauthorization done before, I believe it comes up at the end of September. So that's something that we're optimistic for, but beyond that, you know, looking for, continuing to work closely with the labor community to have bold action, not just in investments, but continued progress on permitting reform that can enable and avoid some of the restrictions that we've seen for the critical energy infrastructure that I know that's been so vital to Western Pennsylvania and throughout the Commonwealth.